Hello, I'm Dave.
And I'm Rob.
And welcome to episode 8 of The List Makers, where today's topic is Top 5 Villains. The List Makers is our monthly mini podcast from the Doctor Who show. We take a top 5 topic, we create some lists, because fandom, we love to create lists, don't we, Rob?
Always. Since fandom was created, we've made lists.
That's right, we're going to have some fun, we'll make our list without interruption, and then compare and discuss our topics.
Yes.
This is our 8th episode. We are back with the topic Top 5 Villains. Last episode we had a lot of snaps, more than we've ever had before. Mm-hmm. Will that be the case again? Rob, what are you betting?
Well, I know that I'm throwing in some cheats here, so I'm not sure we'll have that many snaps.
Interesting.
That's all I'm prepared to say.
Okay, well I've got what could be considered a cheat on here, but otherwise I think it's conventional.
Okay.
We'll find out. It is now time to make our lists. It is my turn to go first. On my list of top 5 villains. In number 5, look, I had to have a Hartnell historical villain in there because those are some of my favourite stories. And I've gone with Totoxel from the Aztecs. This guy is not a comic book villain. He's not a sci-fi villain. He's not trying to take over the universe because he wants to take over the universe. This is a guy who sacrifices humans because that's his day job. And he loves it. You know, he's a genuinely unpleasant guy. He's a butcher. He's so well performed, just so well performed. Wonderful Shakespearean style script.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's a villain who actually wins.
Yeah.
Because although the Doctor and his companions get away at the end, it's Totoxel who wins the day. He sacrifices the perfect victim. He's got complete control over that empire right there and then. He's banished Ortlock out into the wilderness. This guy's won. Yeah. And it's not many Doctor Who villains that can say that. So he's my number 5.
True, yeah.
Number 4, I like a charming, well-written, well-acted villain. And look, I do like a crazy villain, whatever I just said just a moment ago. And so number 4, I have City of Death's Scaroth.
Nice.
Look, so well portrayed, so well written. A villain who is as comfortable destroying the world as he is ordering a nice French meal from his butler. You know, witty, clever, debonair, but ruthless, clever. Yeah. He actually, again, almost outwits the Doctor. If it wasn't for Duggan there giving him a good thump at the end, you know, the Doctor can't reason with him. The Doctor wasn't able to stop him. He almost did it, and it's just because Duggan was there to give him a good slap and a good punch that he almost got his way. Plus, of course, Scaroth is not just the Count Scarlione, but he's also Captain Tancredi, which is another spin on the character. It's just so much good stuff going on.
Yeah.
Number 3, I'm cheating a little bit because I'm going to have both of Kevin Stoney's characters, Tobias Vaughan from The Invasion and Magic Mavik Chen from the Dalek Invasion of Earth. I couldn't split these two, so I want to have them both on the list. Very, very much in both cases because of Kevin Stoney's performance. Vaughan, classic, crazy guy, but so calm, except for the moments when he absolutely loses it. And that contrast before the Packer, don't worry, we're okay. And then just when he realises the Doctor has outwitted him, find him, Packer, find him! Like, the complete contrast is wonderful. I love that. Yeah. Then he goes to pieces. And Mavik Chen, just watching a guy genuinely want to take over the universe, think he can outwit the Daleks, goes slowly crazier and crazier over the whole thing. 2 wonderful villains there. My number 2 Doctor Who villain, Rob.
Yes.
I've gone for Jonathan Powell, head of drama series and serials at the BBC Television. Because if ever there was a threat to the Doctor, it is surely got to be Jonathan Powell.
Yes.
Now, Michael Grade had his part in cancelling Who, but you know what? This is a guy who was making some pretty reasonable assessments about where the show was at the time, and you can't really blame him. But Jonathan Powell wanted to get Doctor Who off the air because he just hated Doctor Who, and in particular, he personally hated John Nathan Turner. He has said on the record, in an interview he knew he would be quoted about John Nathan Turner, honestly, I just wanted him to off or die, really. You know, that to me are the words of a genuine villain. He almost acts Doctor Who completely. He would have if he could have. This guy is evil. This guy is an enemy of the Doctor. He's number 2 on my list.
Okay.
Not a snap I'm predicting, but we'll see.
No. I'm giving it away.
Number one, I am going for a villain who is extremely powerful, but so well performed, and that is Sutekh the Destroyer.
Yeah.
Where he treads, he leaves nothing but dust and darkness. That is his good. That performance, that voice from Gabriel Wolfe, the iconography of the costume as well, that wonderful sort of blending of the alien and the Egyptian, I love so much in the design work. Then he's got the scary, horrible sort of head. Now, there's the one that they have for a few seconds at the start of part one, the Doctor and Sarah see, which is terrifying. Then there's the slightly toned down version at the end of part four. But that first one with the sort of leering smile on the twisted horse face, that's terrifying. But this is a guy who not only wants to destroy the universe, but could.
Yes.
And that is very, very scary. He actually gets moments of power and authority over the Doctor. The abase yourself, you grovelling insect speech is one many fans could quote. And the sheer terror with which Tom Baker plays those moments, where he's done, he's beaten, he's in the control of Sutekh, and in the end he can only outwit him in the last possible moments. There's a moment where it looks like Sutek's going to win. And look, that scene where they travel through to a parallel Earth and see the Earth that Sutekh would leave is a very powerful moment, but just so well performed. Great villain from a classic era. That is my list. Rob, what did you make of that?
Oh, no snaps.
No snaps. Last week was an aberration. Okay.
No snaps at all. And up front, I want to say I've done something you've clearly done. I made a list without Daleks or Cybermen because I didn't see them as villains.
Yes, I think they're monsters.
Yes, exactly. So I'm glad we've both gone down that path because it takes away 2 of your 5 picks if you're throwing in Daleks and Cybermen.
It does, and I also left another obvious choice off there for a similar reason, but we'll discuss that because I'll see if you brought it up.
But I still have one trick up my sleeve, and we'll get to that at number 1.
Well, time for you to make your list.
Yes, at number 5, I'm throwing in the Dream Lord from Amy's Choice.
Nice.
This guy is just ruthless. He just knows all the buttons to press, obviously, and just shreds through the characters, including the Doctor. And I think if he was to come back in another story, would he be pressing on the same insecurities for the Doctor, or were those specific to the 11th Doctor? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, the Dream Lord could look completely different, be pressing on different insecurities. There's replayability with this character, I think. I'm not saying we're going to get it, but I find him very interesting.
I like that, yes.
In at number 4, Shara's Jack.
Oh.
This leather-clad, once comely, perverted Phantom of the Opera type. I mean, my God, what a great character. He's certainly a one-off sort of villain. He's not going to be making a comeback. But, wow. Just wow. Love him. Just great. Number 3, the Celestial Toymaker.
Ooh, nice.
I love these fantasy characters that sort of sit outside time and are eternal and have powers and they're just bored. I guess they're like, speaking of Eternals, they're like the Eternals in Enlightenment in some ways. And in more recent Doctor Who adventures, we've had similar too. I'm trying to think of that episode where they played a cartoon in the middle of it to explain how these Eternals, one took over one planet, one took over the other. Can you think of the story I'm remembering? It's a Jodie story.
It's not Can You Hear Me? It's...
No. Oh, look, it doesn't matter.
It's the one with the thumbs dude.
Yes, exactly. But just the concept of eternal type characters I really like. And this guy in his robes playing these games, I think it's just great. In at number 2, the Great Intelligence. Something just amorphous that can take over dead bodies or control things. That's like a world of possibilities. I'm surprised it hasn't been used more in Doctor Who, to be honest. I was so pleased when it came back in the Smith era. But I think you could do more with it because it can do so much. Maybe that's what flummoxes writers. They think, oh, what can I do? It's anything, really. And I don't know whether that confuses people as to how you use it. I don't know. And in at number 1, this is my cheat. I'm just calling this Other Time Lords. So, throw in the Master, the Rani, the Monk, Omega, the Valeyard, anyone you can think of. Because to me, I've spoken about this before. I don't know which episode it was. It's the whole James Bond 006, 007 thing. When a 00 agent is up against another 00 agent, I think that's very effective. And when the Doctor's up against one of his own people, I think it's not always portrayed so well in the scripts, but I think it can be ratcheted up, that they're playing at a much higher level, perhaps, than some Doctor-villain confrontations. And I love it when that sort of thing happens. So for me, it's other Time Lords.
Well, that's a cheat we will have to explore, because I can see what you did there. Look, I get it. I totally get it. Let me say straight out, obviously it's interesting we had no snaps, but that shows the good variety we had to pick from, and we've both got some really good picks there. I elected not to have the Master on the list, although he's an obvious pick, because partly I just thought it was unfair, partly because, are you picking the Master from Mind of Evil and Deadly Assassin and Survival, or are you picking the Master from Time Flight and Mark of the Rani? He's such a varied villain, and his best he's so good, but at his weakest he can be kind of embarrassing and badly used. And the modern series has had great Master stories, and it's also had him bouncing around with cartoon lightning.
Yeah, I guess I think of these things conceptually, like when I spoke of the Great Intelligence. Conceptually, I think it's a great thing, even if it might not have always been used well in, what was it, The Snowman for Matt Smith. I don't think that's a great episode, but I think it's a concept that I like very much, and the Master is a concept I like very much, and the Rani is a concept I like very much, and I'm so surprised they've never really brought the Rani back. It's always the rumour, this season it's going to be the Rani. Well, why not? I think it's a no-brainer. We people say, we've made the Master a woman. Isn't that great? We've got this strong woman character. Yeah, but we always had a strong woman female Time Lord character. We invented it 35 years ago. I'm surprised it's never been picked up on.
Can I confess something, Rob?
Sure.
I'm not really a fan of the Rani.
Really?
Yeah. So, look, to take those couple of points, why haven't they brought her back? I agree the premise works really well. The idea of a villain who is amoral rather than immoral is a really interesting idea, and one that suits New Who very well. I'm going to pick that up in a moment as well. But she is so much linked to Kate O'Mara. I think it would be very hard to do separately. In the same way that, look, I know that Big Finish has recast the meddling monk, but to me the meddling monk is Peter Butterworth. And I can't separate them. So I don't really want them to come back in that sense, but I like the concept of the Rani, but I just don't think Kate O'Mara plays in a way that appeals to me. And it's the same thing that Michelle Gomez's portrayal of Missy doesn't work for me. It's just a little bit too camp, a little bit too arch. And look, Kate O'Mara has got two very weak stories, in my view, to showcase her talent, so maybe I'm not being fair, but she wouldn't be there. But one Time Lord that almost made my list, along with his colleague, is the War Chief.
Oh, good call.
I almost had him and the Warlord, two great actors and two great performances that could have been on my list very, very easily. I mentioned there a moment ago how I thought the Rani would work very well as a modern villain, and that's because when I went through the list again, I tried not to be too classic-centric and ended up being entirely classic-centric because I couldn't knock any of these people out, and I couldn't find a villain in the new series that really worked. And I think it's because the new series doesn't do villains in quite the same way. The idea of the crazy madman who wants to take over the world isn't really what New Doctor Who does. New Doctor Who doesn't really do people who are bad for the sake of being bad. They're bad because, circumstance worked against them. And they're bad because something happened or they had a loss or whatever. And, that is a more mature and more modern way of writing. And I get that. But sometimes I just want Sutekh the Destroyer.
Do you think episode length plays into this as well? We can't sort of flesh them out very well in 45 minutes?
Oh, look, it has to, because, again, you think about the great Sutekh scenes, and they're ones that are really quite long and quite dragged out. I mean, there's half an episode that's basically just Sutekh and the Fourth Doctor talking at each other whilst Sutekh casually tortures him. That would be... Let's say that scene's... Well, that interaction is 10 minutes. that's a quarter of an episode in Modern Who. And so you don't really have the space to do that.
No.
You don't have the room to let Julian Glover just sort of swank around the set and be wonderful and charming, for a bit. It's not quite as easy, except for when you have more confined stories, like Amy's Choice, where there isn't a lot of plot per se to get through. So you do get the Dream Lord, as you rightfully picked. It's a great pick. You do get the Dream Lord just being bad and actually engaging, and you see some character there.
Oh, massively. I did find it, like you, hard to pick stuff from New Who, but when I hit on him, I thought, yeah, I can't not have him. That's a really interesting character.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you did. And listeners, please, if you think we've missed some really obvious picks from the new series, please do let us know. We'd love to have that feedback.
Dave, you got excited when I brought up the leather-clad pervert, Sharaz Jack. What made you excited there?
Look, he's just so horrible.
Yeah.
He's just so horrible. He's irredeemably horrible, but another one that's so well acted. I mean, how many of these picks basically, whether it's Sharaz Jack, the Dream Lord, the Toymaker, Scaroth, Mavic Chen, Tobias Vaughan, Sutek, Totox, like almost all of our picks are actually, I think, about the actor or actress involved.
You're quite right, actually. Yes.
And the gentleman who played Sharaz Jack, Gabriel something.
Oh, he was a dancer.
He was a dancer.
He was a dancer. I can't think of his name.
Christopher
Gable. That's
it.
it.
We got. See, we're really doing this live to air. Christopher Gable. Yeah, I mean, he gives a wonderful performance, but I like the way that he is willing to harm the Fifth Doctor, and actually kind of pushes past the usual charm. The Davison Doctor does all the sort of the charm and the wit and the self-effacingness, and he's just, you're a prattling idiot, would you just bugger off?
Yeah.
I'm busy trying to molest your companion.
Yeah.
It's horrible, but he's so more sincere and so more wicked, and you're so more engaged by him because he's doing bad things and being a bad person, and is he redeemable?
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Now, Rob, we both excluded the Daleks because they're a monster and not a villain. I think that's very fair.
Mm-hmm.
We could have had Davros, or is he a monster too?
I just lump him in with the Daleks.
Yeah.
To be honest. Because he doesn't appear without them.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, I will acknowledge there are some very good actors who played Davros, and he is a villain that could have been on our list. But yeah, look, some great baddies on there. Some great baddies on there.
Yeah, when you like I did, when you go through the list of all the stories and you think back over some of them, I mean, I admit I tried to find some one-offs and things just to spice things up a bit. But gosh, it was still hard to narrow it down.
Yeah, we could easily have done a much longer list. And look, again, no snaps says all you need to know, really.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, we are coming up to our time limit, so it is time to once again pull out a topic.
Gosh, again.
Here we are. Don't forget, you can always send topics in to the Hat of Rassilon. Our next topic, Rob, top 5.
Yes.
Classic.
Yes.
Writers.
Oh my God. Oh.
Now, if we don't have some snaps, I'll be surprised on that one, but I think there'll be some out-of-the-box picks as well.
Yeah, I can think of the snaps already, but there's so many good ones to choose from as well. Oh.
That'll be tough. That'll be tough. But it will be fun. Listeners, as always, send us your thoughts, send us your topics, give us your feedback, engage with us on Twitter and social media. We love to hear your views because, look, we're just two fans having fun and making lists, and we hope you enjoy making lists with us.
Absolutely.
But until next time when we talk about top 5 classic writers, I've been Dave.
And I've been Rob.
And we'll make some more lists then. Bye.
Bye.